Hello, all my students. I say all my students to start off this lesson video today because this first devotional part is going out to all of my students, all of my freshmen in Applied English, as well as all of my upperclassmen in Writing Workshop. A little devotional thought from Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24 right here. I got thinking about these verses just yesterday during one of our mental health week activities. Got me thinking about why we work. And the verses say this: "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving." Focusing on that fourth word in these verses right here, work. I chose these verses because today is a pretty big work day for all of my classes. For my freshmen, you guys are either taking your African American literature test today, or you are spending some time studying for it to take it over the weekend. You've got some work to do today. For my upperclassmen, as we wrap up our persuasive essay outlines, just getting ready to draft the full essay next week, you've got some work to do today. And it's so easy for us, especially as we're trying to juggle in-person and virtual work, it's so easy for us not to work at these things with all of our hearts. It's so easy to lose heart in what we're working on when we feel like we're just working for men, as these verses say. And what these verses mean when they say not for men, it's not just working for a paycheck, not just working to impress someone else, right? These verses are saying to work with all of our hearts as working for the Lord. Knowing that our work glorifies God ties in with that last verse right there. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. It's a reminder that in anything we do, we do have a chance to reflect, to glorify, and ultimately to serve God as well. Maybe that's hard to feel as you're taking a test for one of your classes. Maybe that's hard to feel as you're outlining for an essay. But what I'd like to remind you, especially in an English class, is that we're building skills that we're using not just for your future success, but also for your ability to live the Christian life, to tell the world who Jesus Christ is, to read and listen to God's word and understand it, to speak with clarity as we tell people the truth about Jesus Christ, and especially as we've been working in all of my classes, to write, as we get our thoughts clearly down on paper. Again, not just for our own success in the future, not just for a paycheck, not just for job security and those kinds of things, but also so that we can glorify God with our skills. Again, it might be hard today for you to feel that taking your test is working for the Lord, or that writing your outline is working for the Lord. Maybe you feel like you're just doing it because I asked you to. But I encourage you today to put your heart into it, knowing that this is not just for me. This is a position that God has put you in for a purpose, for a reason. And my prayer for you today is that gives you a little more encouragement, maybe a little more energy to do your best. These verses are not calling for us to be perfect, to work perfectly for the Lord, because we know that we cannot do that, but to work wholeheartedly, knowing that we are serving Christ. In those areas where we cannot be perfect, He is our perfection for us. And hello, Writing Workshop specifically. So welcome to day 24 as we close out this week right here. I have not given you 5 new materials in today's lesson folder. Most of these are pulled from our last lesson as we continue to work on our Persuasive Research Essay outline. I'd like to note, Mental Health Week Journal is the same one from 2 days ago, so if you feel comfortable with what you wrote, you don't feel like you need to write anymore, or don't feel like you need to proofread to revise or edit what you've already written, you can leave this one be. One thing I would note is that you are free to go back and edit. The way to do that is to find your post. I'll go onto mine right here, hit edit, just those 3 dots, and that allows me to add more onto my post or to proofread, make any changes I like. I would click save when I'm done. The other 2 materials that are the same as our last lesson is my example outline. You can use that as a model as you're outlining today. And then your digital copy of the Persuasive Research Essay outline. One thing I want to note is that I want to start grading and commenting on these things on Saturday. So what that means is that you do have until the end of Friday the 5th to complete your outline. If you've been doing yours on paper, sending me clear photos on Microsoft Teams is a good way to do that. Please let me know if you're going to need more time for outlining, because I can simply save your grading on yours for later. But you will want to get yours done in time for next week, because we will want to use next week to draft first drafts of your Persuasive Research Essay. Looking briefly at our agenda today, should be pretty simple. Same objective all week. We've been pre-writing for a research paper. We're just about finished with our devotional video right here. But then just note once again, this week is our pre-writing week. Next week we move on to drafting. Use this time to research your topic. If you are still kind of struggling to find evidence, take your time to research your topic, pull evidence into your outline. Continue to work on your outline, fill in the commentary sentences, your introduction, conclusion, those kinds of things. Or complete missing assignments, especially if you've fallen behind in our course. You can use today to catch up, and then use the weekend to work with me. Upcoming for us, once again, next week entirely is a drafting week for the Persuasive Research Essay. I think I'm going to teach you a itty-bitty bit of grammar, but the bulk of our time next week is going to be spent in drafting for your Persuasive Research Essay. The goal there is to get a draft done before spring break, so you guys don't have to worry about writing an essay over spring break. That gives me some time to comment, and then we'll do our second draft of this one once we get back. I do have just one more reminder for you today, too. I would imagine that my students are kind of all over the place with the research paper. Maybe some of you just selected your topics and are just now getting moving with your research. Maybe some of you are done or close to done with your outline, ready to start drafting. What I want to note, if we go back into our course here, I have changed up my contact information to give you guys a quick link to my YouTube channel right here, Mr. Handtech MLHS. Our classes playlist is Spring 2021 Writing Workshop Lessons.
Hello, Writing Workshop.
As we scroll down towards the bottom, we should start seeing research stuff as well. So it starts with Research Process Overview, video number 16 right there. If researching is tough for you, watch that one. Actually, the better ones for researching are probably 18 and 19. Evaluating research sources and citing in MLA. We'll be spending a lot more time with citing after spring break. Research paper overview, if you're still a little lost on what this prompt is asking for. Thesis and evidence, if you're struggling with research or struggling with coming up with your thesis. Continuing your research, just to give you some pro tips for moving on with research. Counter-argument paragraphs was our last lesson. If that counter-argument paragraph is hard for you to plan. Once again, this playlist is a great resource for you, just on going back to old instruction. That's what I would recommend you do if you get stuck at any point in your outlining process, just to make sure that you are able to finish without getting totally stuck. Best of luck to you as you write today. Again, reach out to me through Microsoft Teams if you need any help or have any questions for me on outlining. Next week is a drafting week for us.